The notification lit up my phone screen just as I was blowing out the candles on my birthday cake. Laughter filled the restaurant, my friends raising their glasses to toast another year of my life. But the moment I saw his name pop up, the world around me blurred. My name is Chrissy, and at 39, I have received the most ruthless message in history. Hey, Chrissy, I just wanted to be upfront with you. I found someone better. Someone younger, hotter, and honestly, an upgrade. I transferred our money into my personal account. Felt fair since I was the one making most of it anyway. No hard feelings. Enjoy your birthday. A breath caught in my throat. The words glowed on my screen like a neon sign spelling out, betrayal. I didn't react. Not outwardly. No shaking hands. No sudden gasp. No tears welling in my eyes. If anyone at the table noticed anything, it was probably just the way I suddenly sat a little straighter, the way my smile became sharper instead of softer. Congrats, I typed back. One word. No anger, no desperation, just a simple, quiet response. Because what Nathan didn't realize, what he never once considered in his inflated sense of superiority, was that I had been paying attention for months. Nathan had always been arrogant. It was part of his charm at first. The confidence, the smooth talk, the way he could make anything sound like it was his idea, even when it wasn't. But then, things started changing. The sudden, late nights at work, even though his company didn't require overtime. The way his phone was always face down. The way he'd roll his eyes when I mentioned future plans. As if I was naive for even thinking we had a future. And the money. At first, it was little things. His Venmo payments suddenly becoming delayed. A sudden concern over shared expenses when he used to cover dinner without hesitation. Then the big red flag. Last month, he suggested we move our shared savings to an account under his name. It's just easier that way, he had said with that dismissive wave of his hand. I'm better with money, babe. I'll make sure we're set. I smiled, nodded, even let him believe he had convinced me. That same afternoon, I walked into my bank and opened a new account. I didn't drain our joint savings, not completely. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I withdrew just enough over time that he wouldn't notice. I moved my portion into the new account, leaving behind just enough to keep up appearances. And now, on my birthday, I knew exactly what had happened. Nathan thought he had won. He thought he had taken everything and left me with nothing. Except, he was about to learn the hard way just how wrong he was. An hour after his text, my phone buzzed again. This time from a mutual friend. Chrissy. I don't know how to say this, but Nathan just hard-launched his new girlfriend on Instagram. He literally posted, "The glow-up is real. Out with the old. In with the new." I am fuming for you. I clicked the link. Sure enough, there he was, posing in a luxury hotel suite, arm wrapped around a woman who couldn't have been older than 22. Long legs, perfect hair, the kind of effortless beauty that made people do double takes. Melissa. The same Melissa he had told me was just a friend. The same Melissa he had sworn was annoying and immature. And yet, there she was, wrapped around him like a prize he had just won. The comments were ruthless. Okay, King. Big upgrade. Damn, my guy upgraded from economy to first class. R.I.P. to the ex. She must be crying. Oh, how wrong they were. I wasn't crying. I was waiting. Nathan believed he had outsmarted me. He assumed I would do what every woman in his past had done. Break down, beg for closure, spiral into heartbreak. But the thing about arrogant men is that they always underestimate the women they betray. He had forgotten whose name was on the lease of our apartment. He had forgotten whose credit card he had been using for the last 6 months. He had forgotten that I was the one who had built our savings, while he had only ever contributed in words, not numbers. I stared at my phone, at the texts, at the photos, at the comments that were meant to humiliate me, and I smiled. Nathan had made the first move, but I was about to make the last one. Nathan believed he had already won. He thought he had taken the money, the power, and the upper hand. But what he had really done was set himself up for a fall so spectacular even he wouldn't see it coming. The first domino would tip over in 3, 2, 1. The first thing I did when I got home? I changed the locks. Nathan had never bothered putting his name on the lease. It had always been my apartment, my responsibility, my name on every official document. Babe, why do all that paperwork? You're way better at that stuff than I am, he had said when we moved in. And now, that laziness would cost him. The landlord had no problem when I called to have the locks changed. You're the only one on the lease, Chrissy. You can do whatever you want. By midnight, Nathan no longer had a home to come back to. At 1 a.m., I got the first sign that reality was beginning to sink in. A single text from Nathan. Hey, super weird, but I think my key isn't working. Can you let me in? I let the message sit. Read, but unanswered. 15 minutes later, another one. Chrissy? What's going on? I need to grab some of my stuff. I still said nothing. Because Nathan's stuff? The suits, the watches, the sneakers he spent a fortune on but never took care of? Everything he had left behind was already packed in trash bags and sitting in the hallway outside. When he tried to enter his old life, he would find himself standing outside a locked door, staring at his belongings like a stranger on the curb. But this was just the beginning. At 8 a.m. the next morning, I made a call to our bank. Hi, I need to report fraudulent activity on my joint account. The customer service rep's voice was polite but firm. What kind of fraudulent activity, ma'am? I took a deep breath, ready to say the words that would flip Nathan's world upside down. Money was withdrawn without my permission, and I have text message proof that my ex took the funds maliciously. Pause. Then, would you be able to forward those messages to our fraud department? Of course, happy to. I sent the proof within minutes. By 9:30 a.m., Nathan's personal bank account, the one he so proudly transferred all our money into, was frozen pending an investigation. The next text from Nathan came right on schedule. Chrissy, WTF did you do? My bank account is locked. I can't access anything. I sipped my morning coffee before replying. Huh? Weird. Maybe you should call your bank? He called. And what a call that must have been. I imagined the moment the representative explained that his account was frozen due to a fraud complaint. That he wouldn't have access to a single cent until the matter was resolved. That the funds he had stolen weren't as safely tucked away as he had thought. I imagined the slow realization washing over him. That his grand upgrade wasn't going as planned. That Melissa's luxury vacation dreams had just crashed and burned. And that I was not the fool he had thought I was. Nathan had booked a rental car for his trip with Melissa, a flashy convertible, because of course he did. I knew this because I had seen the confirmation email pop up on our shared iPad weeks ago. And guess what credit card he had used? Mine. He had stupidly left the card details saved in the system, thinking I wouldn't notice. So at 10 a.m., I made my second phone call of the day. Hi, I need to report an unauthorized transaction on my credit card. By noon, the rental car was canceled. And just like that, Nathan and Melissa had no ride to their supposed better life. At exactly 12:17 p.m., my phone rang. Nathan. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, another call. Then another. By the fifth attempt, I finally picked up. Chrissy, you need to fix this. My bank is frozen. My rental is canceled. My stuff is in trash bags outside the apartment. You've made your point, okay? I smiled, twirling my coffee spoon between my fingers. Oh, Nathan, I haven't even started. Nathan was unraveling. I could hear it in his voice, see it in his texts, feel it in his desperation. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Because what's the point of revenge if the person who betrayed you doesn't fully understand the depth of their mistake? I was going to make sure Nathan felt every bit of the consequences he had brought upon himself. And the best part? He still had no idea just how deep the trap had been set. Nathan's next brilliant move had been booking a high-end hotel suite for himself and Melissa. 5-star luxury, ocean views, private balcony, a fantasy trip meant to be the cherry on top of his upgrade to a better life. Too bad he didn't pay attention to the fine print, because when he transferred all our money into his personal account, and that account got frozen for fraud. The pending hotel charges bounced. At exactly 3 p.m., Nathan and Melissa arrived at the hotel, dressed for a vacation they could no longer afford. I wish I could have seen his face when the receptionist politely told him, "I'm sorry, sir, but your payment was declined. And unfortunately, we've had to release your reservation." Melissa must have been thrilled, because half an hour later, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I already knew who it was. I answered, keeping my voice light. "Hello?" A second of silence. Then, not Nathan, but Melissa. Her voice was tight with frustration. "Chrissy, hey, look, I know things are weird between us, but..." I didn't let her finish. "Melissa, how's that upgrade treating you?" Silence. Then a sharp breath through her nose. I just need to know if there's something we can do to fix this. Nathan said you froze his account." I laughed. "Nathan said that, did he? And did he also mention how he stole money that wasn't his? Or how he left me on my birthday like an absolute coward?" Melissa exhaled sharply. "Look, I didn't know any of that, okay? I just thought..." I cut her off again. "You just thought he was an innocent, misunderstood guy who needed saving. Let me guess. He told you I was cold? Controlling? That I didn't support his dreams?" The silence on the other end told me everything I needed to know. Melissa was finally realizing she had been played. Too little, too late. While Nathan was scrambling to figure out how to pay for a hotel he couldn't afford, the internet was having a field day. Because Nathan, being the overconfident, social media-obsessed idiot that he was, had posted about his new life way too soon. And people noticed. The comments started rolling in. "Damn, bro flexed too early, Elmo. Imagine leaving your girl for an upgrade just to go broke in 24 hours. Nah, karma came with express delivery on this one. Even people who didn't know me personally were tearing him apart. And then it happened. The moment I had been waiting for. His boss saw it. At 4:45 p.m., my phone vibrated again. "Nathan." I picked up this time just to hear him sweat. "Chrissy, you need to stop this." He started immediately, his voice low, controlled, like he was trying to sound calm but was failing. I smiled. "Stop what, Nathan?" "You know exactly what. My boss called me today." "Oh?" I feigned surprise. "And why would he do that?" Nathan let out a bitter laugh. "Because apparently some people at work saw my Instagram post. And now HR is involved." That's right. His company had a strict non-fraternization policy. And Nathan? Nathan had been dating a subordinate. Melissa wasn't just a random girl. She was a junior staff member at his firm. And now, corporate had questions. Nathan thought he was calling to scare me into backing off. He still didn't understand how completely he had already lost. so I decided to spell it out for him. Nathan, let's get something straight. I didn't do anything to you. You did this to yourself. You stole our money, you played yourself. You lost control the moment you underestimated me. His breathing sharpened. I swear to God, Chrissy. No, Nathan. You don't swear to God. You swear to yourself that next time you won't be so stupid. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have plans. Enjoy your better life, if you can still afford it. And with that, I hung up. His calls kept coming. I never answered. Nathan was losing control. Everything he had so confidently taken for himself was slipping through his fingers like sand. No money, no hotel, no car, no apartment. And now, no job security either. But Nathan? He wasn't the type to go down quietly. No. He was the kind of guy who would set himself on fire just to feel like he was still in control. Which meant the next thing he did was the dumbest move of all. At 9 a.m. the next morning, I woke up to a knock at my door. Not a text. Not a call. A knock. Through the peephole, I saw a uniform. Chrissy Walker? The officer asked as I opened the door. I kept my face calm. Yes, that's me. Is there a problem? We received a report about stolen property. Your ex-boyfriend, Nathan Carter, claims that you've unlawfully kept items that belong to him. I almost laughed out loud. Did he now? He specifically mentioned some designer watches, a laptop, and a few suits. I stepped aside, gesturing to the hallway where Nathan's trash-bagged belongings still sat. Everything he left behind is right there, untouched. He's welcome to take it, if he actually comes to get it himself. The officer glanced at the bags. So, you haven't prevented him from accessing his property? Nope, but I have prevented him from accessing my apartment, my money, and my life. Is that a crime? The officer smirked. Not at all, ma'am. Sounds like a civil matter, not a criminal one. We'll be closing this complaint. And just like that, Nathan's pathetic attempt to intimidate me through law enforcement failed. Strike one. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed again. A call from a familiar number. Melissa. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. Hello? I answered, keeping my tone light. Chrissy, I need to know the truth. Melissa's voice came through, tight with frustration. How much of this did you plan? Plan? I repeated, feigning confusion. What exactly are you accusing me of, Melissa? Oh, don't play dumb. Nathan's broke, his job is on the line, his accounts are frozen, and now he's crashing at my place like some homeless ex-frat boy. This isn't just bad luck. You did something. I smiled, swirling my coffee. Melissa, let me ask you something. Did Nathan ever tell you why he and I shared that bank account? Silence. Did he ever mention whose name is on the apartment lease? Or how he's been living off my credit cards for months? More silence. Then, softly, almost bitterly, no. He said you owed him that money, that you were controlling, that you'd never let him have any independence. I let out a short laugh. So he convinced you that stealing from me was just him taking back control? Classic. Melissa exhaled sharply. God, I was such an idiot. I didn't argue. Because, yeah, she kinda was. The final nail in Nathan's coffin came 3 days later. His company officially fired him. Not just because of the workplace relationship scandal, though that was bad enough, but because HR had reviewed his expense reports. Turns out, Nathan had been reimbursing himself for fake business dinners. He'd even expensed hotel stays, ones that I hadn't even discovered yet. His arrogance wasn't just personal. It was professional suicide. And now? Now Nathan was truly left with nothing. The very last time Nathan ever contacted me was 1 week later. His name popped up on my screen, but instead of rejecting it, I answered. I wanted to hear it. Chrissy? He started, his voice hollow. You win. I didn't say anything. I let the words hang between us. Nathan sighed. I don't get it. You didn't even try to get back at me. You didn't scream. You didn't fight. You just let everything collapse around me. I took a deep breath, then finally answered. Nathan, you did all of this to yourself. I didn't have to fight you. I just had to watch you destroy yourself. Silence. Then quietly, I messed up, huh? I smiled. Yeah, you did. And then I hung up. I blocked his number, and I never looked back. Nathan was gone, blocked, erased, a ghost in my past. And yet, the ripples of his destruction were still spreading. Not that I cared. I had already moved on. But Nathan was learning the hard way that when you build your life on lies and arrogance, there's nothing left when it all crumbles. It didn't take long for word to spread about Nathan's downfall. His old friends, they turned on him faster than he could say upgrade. His coworkers, they had already seen the warning signs before he was fired. And his family? Well, that's where things got really interesting. Because one afternoon I got a text from an unexpected number. It was Nathan's mother, Linda. I hesitated before opening it, but curiosity won. Linda. Chrissy, I know you don't owe me anything, but can we talk? I stared at the message for a moment. Then I typed back. Me. Depends. Are you about to blame me for your son's life falling apart? Her reply came instantly. Linda. Number. I need to know the truth. He won't tell me anything, and all I hear are pieces of the story from other people. That was interesting, because if his own mother wasn't defending him anymore, it meant Nathan's charm had officially run out. I agreed to meet her for coffee, not because I cared about Nathan, but because I wanted to see how much damage he had done to himself. When I walked into the cafe, Linda looked exhausted, like she had aged 5 years in just a few weeks. Thank you for meeting me, she said, stirring her tea absent-mindedly. I need to understand how this happened. I shrugged. Your son overplayed his hand. He thought he was untouchable. He thought he was smarter than me. Linda sighed. He told us you were controlling, that you tried to ruin him. I laughed, shaking my head. Tell me, Linda, what does controlling mean to Nathan? Because as far as I can tell, it means not letting him get away with everything he wants. She didn't argue. In fact, she looked guilty. We spoiled him, she admitted. We always bailed him out when he screwed up. His dad and I thought we were helping, but I see now that we just enabled him to believe he'd never face real consequences. I took a sip of my coffee, letting her words settle. Then she asked the real question. Chrissy, is there any way back for him? I thought about it. Then I said the only thing I knew to be true. Not until he realizes that he is the problem. And by the look on her face, I knew she already understood the answer. I heard bits and pieces over the next few months. Nathan moved back in with his parents. Apparently, they gave him conditions this time. No free money, no reckless spending, and definitely no more girlfriends using him as a stepping stone. Which was ironic, because Melissa had dumped him a week after our last conversation. Guess being the upgrade wasn't as fun when the money ran out. While Nathan was stuck rebuilding his life from scratch, I was thriving. I got a promotion. I traveled. I started a business on the side. And for the first time in years, I felt completely free. No more waiting for someone to grow up. No more walking on eggshells. No more playing a game where the only way to win was to leave the table entirely. One day, nearly a year later, I got a message request on social media. I almost ignored it. But then I saw the name. Nathan. Curiosity got the best of me. I clicked. Nathan. Hey, I know it's been a long time. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I screwed up. I should have treated you better. I don't expect anything, but I wanted you to know that. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I deleted it, unanswered. Because some apologies? They come far too late. Nathan was nothing but a distant memory now. A lesson. A cautionary tale. A reminder of everything I would never tolerate again. While he was still trying to crawl his way out of the hole he dug for himself, my life was only getting better. And the best part? I didn't just survive his betrayal. I thrived because of it. A year had passed since that awful birthday. Since the laughable text message where Nathan declared he was upgrading his life at my expense. And yet, when I looked at where we both ended up, it was clear who had really won, because this was my reality now. My career had skyrocketed. That side business I started? It took off. Turns out, when you remove a financial leech from your life, your bank account thrives. I found love again. A real, mature, respectful relationship. Someone who didn't need to tear me down just to feel like a man. I traveled the world. While Nathan was stuck in his parents' basement, I was exploring cities, trying new foods, and finally living for myself. I didn't need revenge, because my success spoke for itself. But life? Life has a funny way of wrapping up loose ends. It happened at a mutual friend's wedding. I almost didn't go. But something told me this was going to be worth it. And I was right. Because the moment I walked in, I saw him. Nathan, slumped at a table in the corner, nursing a cheap beer, looking nothing like the man who once thought he was too good for me. His once carefully styled hair, unkempt, his expensive suits, now replaced by an ill-fitting dress shirt. His signature confidence? Gone. I almost felt bad for him. Almost, until our eyes met. And I saw it. Regret. The kind of regret that settles deep in your bones when you realize you traded gold for tinfoil. I gave him a small, polite smile. Then I turned back to my date. The handsome, successful man sitting beside me, the one who actually respected me. And I let Nathan watch me move on. Later that night, he finally gathered the nerve to approach me. I saw him coming, but I pretended not to notice. Until he cleared his throat. Chrissy. Hey. I turned, giving him a polite, disinterested glance. Nathan. He shifted awkwardly. You look good? I smirked. I know. His lips pressed into a thin line. I guess you heard about everything. My job, Melissa, all of it. I nodded. Yep. He let out a short, bitter laugh. Guess you're pretty happy about how things turned out, huh? I tilted my head, considering my answer. Then I said, No, Nathan. I don't think about you enough to be happy or unhappy about it. And that was the truth. His face fell. I'm sorry, Chrissy. For everything. I wish I could take it back. I sighed, swirling the champagne in my glass. You don't get it, do you? He frowned. Get what? I smiled. I don't need your apology. I never did. Because the second you walked away, you set me free. And now? I gestured to the beautiful life I had built. I have everything I ever wanted. And you? I let my gaze flicker over his worn-down appearance. Well, you have exactly what you deserve. His jaw clenched, but he had nothing left to say. Because deep down, He knew I was right. As I walked away, I felt lighter than I ever had before. Nathan had been a part of my life once, but that's all he would ever be. A past mistake, a lesson learned. And the most ironic part? He once thought that leaving me would be his greatest success, but in reality, it was mine. Because I had won the only battle that ever mattered. The battle to live well, love better, and never settle for less again.